guys, welcome to the channel again. So recently I posted a video on interactive components and most people were happy to use those interactive components in the designs. So I got a lot of views and many people messaged me in my inbox that they wanted to know and use the auto layout in the design work, right? So basically what is auto layout? Auto layout makes your components, makes your designs responsive. Take an example that you're making a website and you want it to be responsive to all the devices. So what you do is you make a design for the desktop, you make a design for the iPad, you make a design for the mobile. So that design only becomes responsive to those devices, right? What about those devices which has the size larger than the iPad but smaller than the desktop? What about those devices? They don't have an exact size, right? So it doesn't becomes responsive to those devices, right? So here auto layout plays the role. Auto layout makes sure that it makes the element responsive to all the devices that exist in the world, right? So let's get started. So I'm going to show you how to use the auto layout in your design, such as buttons, such as cards, etc. It's pretty easy to learn. Okay, once you master it, it's easy. It's like a cake for you, right? So let's get started. Most of you make a design, make a button with a box, right? Like you add a box. Let me just show you. So you add a box here and make with a width of 200 and the height of 7. Sorry for that. The height of 70. Um, okay, and you add a background color. And you add a text like buy now. Sorry, I guess I need to, yeah. So it looks cool for now. I guess maybe a little bit more bigger. Yeah, it's looking cool. So you guys make these buttons like this, like adding a background box and a text, and this is how you make buttons, right? But let me just tell you, these buttons are not responsive at all. For example, I want to change in future, all right? The client wants to change the text, or you want to change the text from buy now to create an account. So I I add a text for create an account. So what happens? You see the text goes out of the box. But what I want is to maintain the same distance in the box. Like you see, you have the same distance. I want to maintain the same distance even if I change the text. How can I do that? Okay, so here auto layout plays a role. So stop using rectangles. Okay, start using frames have more powers. Okay, usually you make an auto layout only using the frames. So let me just show you. No need to add any box, no need to add anything at all, just have to add a text. So let me add a text here, buy now, right? Okay, so now I'm going to add auto layout. So basically I will now add auto layout. You can just go here and click or add auto layout, or you can just press shift A. It will add auto layout. You see auto layout added. So let me show you what these components are. So these two means, do you want the direction of the elements to be horizontal or the vertical? I want it to be horizontal default. If you like having a card or having a list, and the list has the list items as a vertical, then you make it as a vertical, right, like this. But this is going to be button, it's going to be horizontal, so I'm going to keep it as horizontal. And this is the spacing. For example, I have two elements inside. Let me just add element. Yeah, so I add this element inside here. So you see now, um, if I increase this, it will increase the spacing between the both elements, right? And this is the overall padding around this. Like you see, everywhere is 20, so that is why it is 20 here. It will increase the padding on both sides, right? But if you want to make it like change manually paddings, like I want it 20 here, I want it 50 here, you can do like here. And this thing is the alignment of the elements. If you want the element to be aligned left side center, click here. If you want to align it center from top and horizontal, click here. So it will align it basically proper in the center, right? So for now I'm going to keep the top heading as 15, bottom heading as 15, and 25 on the both left and right side. Okay, and then I'm going to add a fill color. Okay, and I can choose the color from here, and I can add a radius 10, and I can change the color from here. So let me show you what it happens now. So it normally looks like a button, right? Like how you used to make, but if I say copy this, sorry, let me just create an account. You see, the spacing remains the same. It doesn't fade away. Just the text stays in the box. It doesn't go out of the box, right? So this is what auto layout does. Right. Basically, what happens is it works on the constraints. Mostly, it works on the constraints. So think of the frame. The frame is the parent, and you have to put the parent has hug contents, and the child has some hub contents, right? Basically, you have to keep the parent, the child has hub content which you want to increase. Okay, so basically, only this is going to increase the size, not this one. So it can be fixed width and a fixed height because we are not going to increase the size of this one, right? Okay, this is how auto layout button is created. Let's go ahead for a list. So to add a list, I'm going to add a box, all right? And I'm going to add a width of 30, a height of 30, to add a stroke, maybe 2 strokes is good. Okay, yeah. Now I'm going to add list item, right? Looks good. Yeah. So now just select both of them together, press Shift A again, the same thing, right? This is the pairing. Okay, so if I click vertical, it becomes vertical. You see, it becomes vertical. If I click horizontal, it becomes horizontal. If you want to keep the spacing 15, you can manually add it. Now I'm going to align it, right? And then I'm going to add the padding. 5 on the top, sorry. 5 on the top, 5 on the bottom, 10 on the left, and here, right? So if I change the text, this one, basically it comes out of the box, right? Because we didn't mention the constraints properly. So go to the parent, check if it is her contents. Then go to the child, which is going to increase, and add it as her contents. And now if I cite coffee at 4 p.m. tonight. So you see, it increased the size automatically, right? This is what happens. Sorry for that. Yeah. So that is what happens. Like you have to give the hug contents to the element, to the child element which you want to increase the size, and also for the parent element, right? So let's take it as an example. So I'm going to add this again here. Change the text as list item, right? And I'm going to make something like 5. 4 is enough, I guess. Now I'm going to add a text box where the users can add the to-do list, right? So I'm going to add, just like how you made the button, same, just add a text. like type your task. I'm trying to change the color. Again, Shift A, auto layout is created. Center align it. Top has 10, bottom has 10, and fill it. I'm going to change the color, maybe a bit less. Add padding, right? Increase it. Align it properly. Or contents. My task is pretty simple here. You see, it goes out of the box, right? You may be asking why it goes out of the box, because we have to give it fill container. So okay, let's just I just clear it. Okay, so you guys are not like uh just let me show you. Coffee at 4 p.m. tonight at my friend's house. You see, when I added fill container, it goes down, but when I added hug content, it goes out, right? Why? Guess why? Well, let me just tell you. There are two parents, I mean two childs in the parent, right? When you have two parents, I mean two childs in the parent, and you just want one child to increase the size, then add hug contents to the one particular child. But if you have only one child in the parent, then make the child as fill container, right? Just make the child as fill container whenever you have only one child. When you have two child, add the increasing child has hug content, so it will increase the size automatically, right? So our text box has been made. Okay, so now I'm going to add a frame. Okay, no, don't add rectangle, add a frame. I'm going to add a frame like this, right? And I'm going to change the fill color, something this, yeah, right? Just let me just change this color, background color, so you can see. Yeah, okay. So now if I try to duplicate this, look, I have to adjust everything again and again, right? What if I could just duplicate anything I want, but it automatically responds itself? So add this auto layout to the parent, which is this big frame. Shift A, right? And align it here. And I'm going to adjust the padding if you want. Okay, and for most of you people will be confused, like what if I want different padding for these four and different padding for this, from in the spacing for these four and spacing for these two, right? It's pretty simple. Don't add auto layout to the parent, right? Add another frame inside it for the child, right? Yeah, so for this, add auto layout, change it here, spacing has been 20, right? Now add auto layout here, 20, not 20, 30, 30, 50, 40, maybe 40, all right? Now if you may see, if I duplicate it, it responds itself. I don't have to worry about anything. It responds itself. It makes the spacing, it makes the equal spacing among itself, right? So this is how usually uh, auto layout works, right? So again we go ahead and make a form, right? Yeah, let me just tell you how constraints usually work. Basically a constraint, take example that I put this frame here. They add a fill color of black, right? So I change the text name as overlay. So look, if I increase the size of this frame, the overlay frame stays there, right? Because we added the constraint to be top and the left. What if we add the constraint bottom and right? Now if I try to increase the size of the frame, you see it stays in the bottom and it stays on the right side, right? What if I add it as left and right? Look, it stays at the bottom and it increases itself on the left and right, right? If I make it center, right, it stays in the center of the center bottom. Look, got it? If I put it scale, scale usually works just as left and right. It scales itself according to the size of the parent, right? If I put scale for both, you see, it automatically adjusts itself according to the parent size, right? So basically, this is how uh, constraints work. Okay, so let's go ahead and make a form just for signing up. All right. So let's go ahead and create an account, right? Maybe a bit more larger size. Yeah, it's cool. Already have an account. Sign in. Right. So this is going to be sign in one. Oh, I have to do something like this. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So here I'm going to add the fill color as this one. Yeah, it's cool now. Right. So now I'm going to add text boxes for email and password, right? So first I'm going to do is take mail icon. And I'm going to change it something like this. Select both the elements, shift A, and align it properly, manage spacing, right? And then add padding to it. I'm going to add 7, 7, 10, and 10. And I'm going to add border radius, a fill color, increase the size. So you may see now there are two elements. Quick question. So this is only this text is going to get larger. So is it going to be hug contents or fill container? Be sure about it. Look, if I add like goes out, because we give hug contents to it and then fill container to it, right? So add fill container to it. Now you see here the fill container works because I gave center here. If I give hug contents here, and if I give fill container here, and you see it is again center here, it's not fill container here, because it's because we only gave the padding 10 here, right? But there is extra space here which we didn't even give at all, right? Which we didn't even give at all. Then why did the extra space, like, then why can't we use fill container here? Like whenever you try to resize the parent element, and then if you want to use hug contents for the parent and the child, and then if you try to increase the size, it will increase for sure, but there won't be spacing here, right? But most people will be like so intelligent, they can be like just go here, they go here, they increase padding here, like maybe 70, yeah. So you see it looks like a normal thing, like, but if you increase this, the 70, the 70 pixel of padding stays there, right? So what the good thing you can do is put it as fixed for the upside and center at the horizontal one. I mean, sorry, the yeah, horizontal one. And for the child, add it as fill container. Sorry, remove the padding first. Yeah. Now, if I try to add, it will add automatically. Like it's good. Understand? I hope you understand. Like, let me know if you have any doubts. Right. So maybe I can increase the size 50. So look again. Look, it doesn't work. You know why? Because I manually tried to increase the size. Don't do this. Don't ever try to manually increase the size if you're not good at constraints. Try to use the uh, padding for now because you are new. Okay, so if you see now, if I try to do this, it increases because we didn't try to add the padding. We try to add the padding manually. If we try to increase the size, for example, if I increase the size now a bit, okay, and you see still the padding between top and bottom is same, but if I try to resize it, it won't resize, like it won't be responsive because constraint like auto layout doesn't work if we manually increase anything by ourselves. We want it to increase either by padding or by the children, right? So if you want to increase the size, just go here and add the padding from here. Okay, if I try to increase, like if I try to add more child elements, it responds automatically because auto layout works only according to the Figma. Alright, so this is how basically you can create your own auto layout elements. If I try to accelerate more, something like 300, and now if I try to increase the child element, it works, right? Because I entered manually here, right? If I increase here, you see, because we gave the field container. Field container means uh, basically, you see, this space is occupied by this element, and this space is occupied by this element, and the space between them is the 15% of the uh, 15 pixel of the spacing between the two elements, right? So basically, field container does is it will take the extra spacing that is remaining in the parent element, right? If I give this one has fixed weight, and if I give this one as a fill container, and maybe this one as a content, you can see it takes the remaining space of the parent element, right? That is what fill container works like. That's how fill container usually works. If I put this one as fill container, right? Okay, so I'm going to again put it as fill container. Sorry. Yeah, fixed width will continue. Yeah, so our email is now ready. Again, just do the same, copy it again down. Going to change the text as enter your sorry password, right? And now I want to add a button here for signing up. Again, just add text, sorry, and then shift A, adjust the paddings, add border radius, sorry, add a fill color, right? Maybe 13 and 30 to the top and bottom is right. So if I so now you can see I manually try to increase the width of the element. So now it is not responsive. Again, we have to do the same thing again. Go to the parent, hug contains, right? It won't work, right? So go add left here and left and right here and increase the width 357. And for this, make the head has fill container and align it centrally. Now, if I try to make it responsive, it is responsive, right? So I hope you understand how auto layout usually works now. Now I'm going to uh, make auto layout for these both, right? So again, select these both together, Shift A, center it, right? That's it, you have to get no more. The other things are right in the frame. Now I'm going to add a frame, right? So like this, going to add a fill, add a border radius, and add auto layout to it. 50 maybe from the bottom, 50 from the top. Alright. If you want, you can increase spacing, right? So I guess you like this video. I hope you understand how auto layout usually works. Uh, I just want to give you all one advice that try to use less rectangles and try to use more frames in everywhere you go. Right? And also, I want to shout out Mrs. Isha Arora and Era Tyagi for concentrating more on the design bootcamp, and I congratulate them for winning the Cabana design system, which was been sold for $54. And I hope they are going to have a great week